All right, so the secret to warm, dry hands on the mountain is the proper gloves and gloves that are properly taken care of. Now, I always recommend leather gloves. Now, leather can dry out, and that's why we use something like SnoSeal, this is a beeswax based glove wax. It'll make it waterproof. Anytime your gloves or your leather is dry, it's going to be not waterproof, and it's gonna need to absorb something. And so we put an oil or a wax on them to allow the gloves to absorb that, which will block the water. So these Kinkos, these are, a $26 glove from Ace Hardware. I oil them every couple weeks, and they keep my hands really dry on the mountain. If you're digging around or you end up in a lot of powder, your hands can still get wet. But if you're skiing, snowboarding, and it's just a normal day on the mountain, these will keep you dry. These are my Hestras. They're a much more expensive glove. They're all leather. In fact, Hestra sends out a specific oil balm for these, and they say if you do it once or twice a season, you're in good shape. I like to do it more than that. You can kind of tell when your gloves start to get dry. They'll get a little lighter. They'll get a little more grainy. So the reason we're in the bathroom is that what I like to do when I'm waterproofing my gloves is I'll just throw it on my hand. I'll grab a hair dryer, and this is going to be loud. I'm going to warm up the glove. This will also make sure that there's no moisture in the grain. You can hit both gloves at once if you want. Now, what I like to do is I'll put both gloves on. I'll grab some of my wax or oil or whatever you want. Healthy amount. This stuff is cheap. It's like $7 a bottle, and it lasts a season, maybe 2 at least. So I'll start kind of spreading around the love on one hand, and I'll get some more here, and I'll do the same on this hand and rub it in, kind of like lotion. Now I've got a lot on there. You can kind of see all the excess, but that's going to get rubbed in. That'll all get absorbed. I do recommend doing this, if you, at least the night before, if not a couple days before, to let the leather soak it in. Yeah. They'll be sticky when you're done because, you're putting wax on leather. So don't go touching your phone and opening doorknobs and stuff because everything will be sticky. That'll, as it soaks into the leather, that won't happen as much. You can see how much darker the gloves are now. They're absorbing, and that's what you want to see. When your gloves start to get lighter, that's how you know it's time to oil them up. Just the other day I went out and did some snow skating. I'd never done it before, so I ended up with my hands in the snow a lot. Now these did get wet. Been a couple weeks since they were oiled. They got wet, so I had to let them dry out for a couple of days. And so after they get real wet, it's always good to oil them again. You'll see them get darker. Now I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'm going to get the leather on the back here, because this will also kind of make the gloves wind resistant. In the back of your hands, especially if you're skiing and holding on to poles, they get a lot of wind. Now the great thing about these gloves, and why I say they're going to keep you dry and warm, is that they do vent. So on warmer days I'll wear these gloves, and the fact that they're not full leather allows them to breathe. So my sweat doesn't build up on the inside, And that's when you start to get cold hands. Is if you're on a warm day and your gloves are too hot, you'll start sweating inside, and that's bad news. Anytime you take your glove off, too, keep in mind you're gonna get cold air in there. Your hands are gonna cool down. So try to keep your gloves on. Now I will carry 2 sets of gloves with me in case something happens and they do get wet. I don't leave for the slopes without a second pair of gloves and a second pair of socks. So those are nice and moistened up. You can hear how sticky they are. And what we're gonna do now, I'm sure the hotel loves that I use their hair dryer with my sticky hands, is I'm just gonna take this and heat up the wax. It's gonna make it more of a liquid, and you'll be able to see it in the video. And it's gonna soak into that leather. Instead of being this paste, it's gonna turn more into a liquid, and it's gonna soak in really well and get them nice and dark. You can see how the glove's getting more shiny. That's the wax getting warm and soft. And you'll want to like clench your fists a little bit, loosen up the leather. And this part, a lot of people skip. And that, it's fine. Your gloves will still be pretty much waterproof, but the wax will just be sitting on top of the glove, which isn't really what we want. You want it to soak into the leather and moisten the leather. So think about putting lotion on your hands. If you just put the lotion on your hands and didn't rub it in, then it never soaked in. You just have greasy hands all day. And if you get this stuff on your hands, don't worry about it, just rub it in. It's a very good moisturizer. Like I said, it's beeswax based, so you know, it'll just make your hands really moisturized. I'm gonna go over to the other glove here and watch that band on the back darken up. So this is how you stay warm and dry on the mountain. Good waterproof gloves. Leather is naturally breathable. The ones you might be told to buy, you know, on the mountain or at the sports store, the rental shop, are typically nylon. They're not breathable. And once they're wet, they're wet. Like I said, these gloves I think are 20 or 25 bucks. Most mountain towns will sell them at like a hardware store. I got these, or at least one of these pairs on Amazon. I have 3 pairs of these that I rotate through. For the price of 1 pair of like down-filled mittens or whatever, I can get 3 pairs of these and always have dry gloves. So there is your secret to staying warm on the mountain, and we're just gonna rub these in. I'm gonna let them cool, and we'll throw them in the bag for today. And always remember, if you can keep from sweating inside your gloves, you'll be in great shape. Warm and dry. How do I end this thing?